Welcome back. Many thanks for staying with us. The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice is to launch an investigation into the controversial recruitment for the Immigration and Civil Services. The Immigration Service, for instance, sold nearly 85,000 application vouchers when they had just 500 places. Prospective applicants were charged 50 Ghana cedi each to participate in the enlistment exercise. In the studio with me now is Benjamin Alpha Edu. He's lead advocate in charge of communication with a group calling itself the Citizens Forum. They filed a petition at CHRAJ. He's going to tell us what they actually sent to the CHRAJ. Benjamin, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Gifty, for having me.
What's contained? We know that you want some sort of investigation, but what's contained in the petition you sent to CHRAJ, if you can summarize that?
Yeah, Gifty, we have about 8 issues that we want CHRAJ to investigate and make pronouncement on, but all of these issues are condensed into 4 main issues.
Okay.
First of all, we want CHRAJ to investigate and make pronouncement on whether GIS and civil service as public institutions had the right and power to go ahead and fix a fee and charge, prospective applicants, say, in the light of the fact that our Public Financial Management Act and regulations do not permit. If you look at our Financial Administration's regulations, LI 1802, Section 20 and all the subsections say that any fee or rate that will be fixed by public institutions, must have due recourse to Parliament. Section 47 of our consolidated law that regards, public financial management also says that an entity shall not fix and collect any fee unless it has been, duly approved by Parliament. And so the combined effect of this is that it is somewhat illegal and somewhat not proper for state institutions to go ahead and charge fees that have not had, the approval of Parliament.
So that's your interpretation of the law you just, the regulation you're just quoting.
Yes, that is the first issue.
Okay,
second issue is that we feel that there are certain administrative procedures around the whole issue that we feel that CHRAJ needs to investigate and make a pronouncement of. First of all, if you look at both legal instruments that I have cited, it is very explicit and very copious that when these monies are collected, they must be deposited either in the consolidated fund or a public fund established by an act of Parliament. And when this is done, they must not be dispersed unless they have been appropriated for by Parliament. The question is that we have been told that these monies were used for administrative processes around the recruitment. The question is that were these monies first of all deposited in the consolidated fund or public fund?
Told by who?
The PRO for GIS and civil services, when these sagas came up and they were quizzed, they told us that they use it for administrative processes. For example, for GIS, the Ghana Immigration Service, about 4.218 million Ghana cedis accrued as a result of these fees, and we are told that they have been used. The question is that, number one, did they deposit in the consolidated fund, public fund enacted by an act of Parliament?
Do you have any evidence to the contrary of what you're just saying?
We have gathered a number of evidences.
Okay.
And you know that when you submit something to CHRAJ, you'll be called upon to provide these evidences. And so we have indicated in our petition that we are ready to go the full haul as far as providing evidences and corroborating these facts are concerned. So we have put in these things. Now, another very important issue that we want CHRAJ to make a determination on is whether it is proper for state institutions that have budgetary, allocations to do this, especially in the light of the fact that these institutions, for example, the GIS knew that there were spaces for only 500 people, but they went ahead to take monies from over 84,000 applicants. Now, Article 23 and 296 of the 1990 Constitution mandate public service institutions to be fair, reasonable, and candid in the exercise of their functions. We want CHRAJ to determine whether it is fair, reasonable, and candid to take, in the case of the GIS, applications from 84,000 people when they know, or when they knew at all material moments, that they could accommodate only 500 people. And we want CHRAJ to, last but not least, investigate all other matters related to these issues. The broader aim of this petition is to bring sanity into the situation where public service institutions have to siphon monies from unemployed youth who are just willing to serve their countries. You know that in other jurisdictions, when you want to join the armed forces, immigration service and all of that, you don't have to pay anything. In fact, you are even given snacks and other, incentives on the day of recruitment. But we are here, we take monies, people queue up, and they say they use those monies for administrative processes. What are the administrative processes?
So those are answers that you want CHRAJ to help you get. You so far mentioned about 3 issues here. What's the 4th one? You said you have about 4 issues.
Yes, the 4th one is the fact that we want them to determine other related matters to these, processes.
What other related matters?
We know that when it comes to, the public services, there are financial allocations made to them in the budget, the Appropriation Act. If there are financial allocations made to them, for example, the Ghana Immigration Service, if you look at the Appropriation Act of 2017, they made allocation for them in terms of administration and recruitment, which amounted to about 1.5 million Ghana cedis. If those monies were indeed approved and were used, how come that they are taking other monies for administrative process? So there are a lot of issues that we want them to, investigate and make a pronouncement on. And the far-reaching effect, Gifty, that we are seeking for this is to put a stop to this practice. It is just not right that our vulnerable unemployed, who are already traumatized by the unemployment situation, would have to pay some of these monies to serve their nation, basically. Because it doesn't even happen in the private sector. The private sector, which is basically driven by profit, do not have to take monies from people. You have to go there, apply based on merit, you present your CV, you are interviewed, and you are employed, forthwith. So it is baffling that in Ghana we would have to sustain this long-age practice of taking monies from unemployed youth who want to serve their nation.
For them to get jobs. So I can feel your agitation, but when you went to CHRAJ, what was the response? Yeah,
we first of all presented it to the registry at the CHRAJ, who are mandated to take some of these petitions, and we have our copies stamped and duly received, and they have acknowledged receipt, and they are going to get back to us for us to provide other information to corroborate the facts and the issues we have raised in there. So they gave us a very positive feedback.
Have they given you any timelines that you can fall on to hold them accountable?
Yeah, they've not given us a timeline, but what they told us was that they are going to write to us soon to begin the process of investigating and making pronouncement on these matters.
Does that satisfy you and your group?
Yeah, we know that we would have to give them some time, and so we are not too much worried that they did not give a timeline. Of course, CHRAJ is not an entity that their activities and conduct is shrouded in secrecy. At any point in time when we feel that the issues are delaying, we can follow up, and the media and all other stakeholders concerned would help us in this agenda.
Did you, at a point or at any point in your quest to find information, reach out to the Immigration Service to find out what they think about about your issues, the issues you have raised?
Gifty, you know that would be very difficult. For example, we as private citizens going into Ghana Immigration and Civil Service trying to demand documents and evidences and all of that, especially in the light of the fact that the Right to Information Bill is still lingering on the tables of parliamentarians. And so we think that CHRAJ is the body properly imbued with the powers to be able to call them, look for documents, and make pronouncement on these issues.
Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes then. Since there are no timelines at the moment, perhaps we will have to give it some time and reach out to the CHRAJ to find out what decision they've taken on that. But, well, hopefully there will be some responses. So they want CHRAJ to find out whether or not the decision to actually charge people was subjected to parliamentary approval. They want to CHRAJ to investigate what they're calling some administrative lapses as well, according to the Ghana Immigration Service. And on their report, the finances or what they received from people were used for used as administrative charges. They want that investigated as well. And they think they can't really understand. And this is a question that a lot of people have raised about why you have very limited space and yet you receive so many applications in the thousands when you have only 500 spaces. Well, Benjamin Alpha Edu is lead advocate with the group calling itself the Citizens Forum. He's also in charge of communication. Benjamin, thank you very much for coming once again.